Hello everybody and welcome back to the new VR news. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your one channel for everything VR related. Today, we're discussing the impact of 10 million Oculus Quest users. The Olympics are currently going on in VR. We have some great new games to go over, including a potential AAA title from a well-known IP, and we have our first look at an Oculus Quest AR title. Before we jump into this video, quick reminder that I am giving away a 256GB Oculus Quest 2, sponsored by Superbright, the developers of In Death Unchained, and if you're interested in getting in on that, it's down in the pinned message. Okay, so while we're on the topic of free stuff, let's start this video off with a bunch of free game demos. If you were interested in checking out Sam & Max, this time it's virtual, but didn't have an Oculus Quest 2, don't worry because it's coming to Steam in the near future, and there's currently a demo available. I reviewed the Oculus release of Sam & Max, I will pin that above if you're interested, but it's a few hours of comedy-based mini-game fun. If you're a fan of Sam & Max or you're looking for some casual VR fun, I do recommend you check out this title. Now our next free demo is for Black Hole Pool, which released a few months ago on the Oculus App Lab for $9.99, but now you can pick up a free demo and check it out. So if you were looking for a virtual way to practice your pool game, compete against some AI or your friends, and throw up some YouTube videos in the background at the same time, well, here you go. Okay, so our next free demo is for Ascending Dojo, which gives you avatar-like powers in VR. The game is scheduled to release sometime in 2022, but you can go ahead and check out a tech demo available on both Steam and SideQuest. Developers Cellfox do have a Kickstarter campaign coming up in the near future for this game, and this will be an opportunity to get beta and alpha access to the title. Okay, so our last free demo is also the first release title of this week, and that's the PlayStation VR exclusive Fracked. Fracked is a fast-paced, high-action, first-person shooter that plays like a Vin Diesel movie in VR. I was planning on reviewing this title, but I received my copy while I was away on vacation, and I'm yet to jump into it. I did, however, play the free demo, which you guys can download from the PlayStation Store right now, and I can easily say this is one of the best-looking PlayStation VR games. Developers nDreams have given us some updates regarding this title, and unfortunately, they're not planning to bring it to any other platform, which is a complete shame, because I would love to experience this game on a higher resolution headset and any other controller besides the PlayStation Move. It's not all bad news though, because they are considering implementing multiplayer modes. I'm not sure if or when I will get around to covering this title, but if you do want to see some coverage from me, please let me know down in the comments. Okay, so before we move into some game updates, we do have some bad news to go over, and that's the delay of Lone Echo 2. We were only a week away from release when developers Ready at Dawn let us know that we're gonna have to wait till sometime later this year. Their official reasoning was the game needs a bit more polish to reach their desired quality level. So it looks like we'll have to wait a little bit longer to jump into the sequel of VR's best story-driven title. I'm completely okay with the studio taking any time they need because Lone Echo 1 is 4 years old now and still one of the best VR games. Speaking of delays, well, sort of, we're finally getting the second chapter for Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. Officially titled Last Call, we're getting a whole new adventure sometime this fall. The teaser trailer shows off some new characters, some puzzles, and a little bit of action. Ultimately though, it's not a lot to go on, and seeing as the first chapter was a massive disappointment, I'm not really excited to jump into this one, especially since I read this is a paid DLC. Now I'm having some trouble confirming that, and it is understandable if that is the case, but it does make this even more disappointing. Tales from the Galaxy's Edge lacked that charm that Vader Immortal had, and it replaced Jedi powers and lightsabers with mediocre shooting. So hopefully they were able to push things in the right direction for the Last Call. Okay, so let's move on to an announcement trailer for Terragon, Symbol of Magic. This is a spellcasting, dungeon-crawling RPG, which will be available for both the Oculus Quest and Steam VR. It's designed to be a fully immersive VR experience using hand gesture-based spellcasting. There's randomly generated levels, level progression, and of course lots of loot to pick up along the way. I always talk about how VR doesn't have enough RPG titles, so I'm definitely intrigued to check this one out. It's currently scheduled to release on September 8th for both the App Lab and Steam VR. Now if you're not looking to purchase any new games, Rec Room is currently running the Rec Olympics. Events actually started last week, but are continuing until the end of the month, and as of making this video, you can still sign up for the disc throwing event, the ultimate frisbee event, and the paintball event. You do need to be over 13 years of age, your character has to be level 30 or higher, and you will need to be available for the specific time of the event. If you're not picked to compete, there are some spectator events taking place, and I'll drop a link in the description if you guys are looking for more information. Now, if you like to compete, but Yupitergrad is much more your style, good news because they just dropped a new update. That's right, the Soviet-themed space station grappling hook platformer now has 10 new levels for you to test out. These are the fast-paced, highly competitive time trial levels that usually end up frustrating someone like me, but they're still a blast to play. This update's currently available for Steam and Oculus players, but the PlayStation VR crowd is gonna have to wait a little bit longer. Okay, so we have another exciting story that Vertigo Games has acquired Studio Forcefield. Vertigo Games is the studio behind Arizona Sunshine, and they're currently working on After the Fall. They themselves were recently acquired by Koch Media, which has shown a major interest in the development of VR. But what makes this story so interesting is the fact that Forcefield was supposedly working on an unannounced AAA title game from a well-known IP. Now, Forcefield has already delivered some truly unique experiences, like sitting in an autonomous car while wearing a virtual headset, simultaneously driving on a virtual and real highway. They also gave us the Anne Frank experience, and many excellent games like Landfall, Time Stall, and Coaster Combat. So between this unannounced AAA project and their merger with Vertigo Games, I am really excited to see what comes from this. For now though, we're just gonna have to wait. But while we're talking about exciting new stuff, we have the first example of an AR game using an Oculus Quest 2. The Facebook AR API was recently made available to developers, and now we're starting to see things pop up on SideQuest. Cactus Cowboy AR is a tech demo that uses pass-through, basically giving you an example of what an AR game could be like. It's very rudimentary, and it's not the easiest thing to set up, but it's really cool to see how quickly people can start putting this stuff together. Now, the pass-through experience on the Oculus Quest isn't great, but right now we are getting a glimpse into the future, and I'm truly excited to see what we will eventually get from AR. Okay, so it's time for today's main story, and that's 10 million Oculus Quest users. Now, this stems from everyone's favorite Oculus Ask Me Anything source, Andrew Bosworth, who recently mentioned that Facebook is going to pass 10 million Oculus users sooner than they expected. So what does this actually mean? When will it happen? And why should we care? Facebook never really provides us with specific figures. We have stats provided by sources like Rec Room that said roughly 2 to 3 million original Quest owners logged into their game. We know that there's 1 million Steam VR users using an Oculus Quest 2, but one of the most recent and best indicators of how many Oculus Quest 2s were sold is the fact that Facebook needed to produce 4 million silicone covers due to the recent face irritation temporary Quest 2 sales halt. Now, I also have some secondhand Facebook information that states their original 10 million estimate was by the end of 2021, so if the timeline has indeed accelerated, as Bosworth stated, they should hit that threshold within the next 3 months. Okay, so why does this matter? Well, it's still just an arbitrary value. It's a number that Facebook stated is required for a viable and long-lasting ecosystem, and this is great for Facebook, but what does it mean for us gamers? Well, it means bigger and better titles. If you're an OG VR gamer coming from PC VR, like myself, you might be a little disgruntled over the current state of VR. In fact, it might feel like games have gone backwards lately, but the Oculus Quest was a necessary reboot for the VR industry. It's true that PC VR released some amazing titles back in 2019 and 2020, but they barely moved the needle when it comes to VR adoption. The only notable example was Half-Life Alyx, which basically added 1 million new VR players overnight, but this wasn't a highly profitable endeavor for Steam, and it's a financial risk that many studios simply can't take, so for VR to truly grow, it had to take the Oculus Quest route, and with a stable ecosystem and a large player base, developers will have much more confidence that their games will be financially successful. In the near future, we'll see more and more titles that come closer to Half-Life Alyx caliber. The growth of VR is also much more likely to bring other competitors such as Microsoft. If you're getting sick of Facebook, we know Microsoft likes to wait until a medium is firmly established before jumping in, and then we could finally have multiple competitively priced choices to pick from. This is great news for VR, and we're only a year or so away from getting much bigger AAA style titles. So I'm definitely taking this as great news, but you guys let me know down in the comments what you think, and that was today's new VR news. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, and as always, I will see you guys on next time.